Okay. There are some people in the tabletop role-playing game hobby that need to hear what I'm about to say. When it comes to AI Dungeon Masters, or WOTC's D&D Beyond, monthly payments, and the way they're probably going to want to put their new terrain feature and miniatures through that D&D Beyond thing where you got to pay monthly for it. And WOTC will probably go towards microtransactions, selling you stuff for that terrain and the miniatures and all that you don't need, but it looks cool. You might think the company is awful for doing that. But here is the awful reality. The majority of people want that. They want an AI Dungeon Master. They want their D&D Beyond, and they're happy to get their terrain and miniatures through that instead of paying thousands of dollars for the physical thing. But regardless, they want convenience. They want it all. It's not like the company is trying to force this on the people. They know the people want it. That you can look around the market and see that people are demanding it. Like, first you might think, oh, there's some companies pushing these ideas. But you get to a certain point where there are now fans and audience members and customers looking at people that are making games going, why haven't you already put in the cool shirts that I can purchase? Why haven't you already done this? And they're criticizing game designers for not already setting up microtransactions. Like, let alone the majority are not complaining about it, they're demanding it. The idea that some tabletop role-playing game is going to come along and just wipe out WOTC and D&D, that's not happening. Here would be about the only way for sure, if WOTC keeps going with D&D, but here's about the only way for sure that you could outpace D&D. Well, you'd have to get in with your own game and then spend years, at the bottom, moving up, every opportunity, every time there's some bad news, you take advantage, you push your game, and you don't expect to even get a hit then. You're just going to keep going up that ladder slowly. Every time there's some bad news for the other side, you take advantage. But you don't have an unrealistic expectation. Maybe after 50 years of just pushing yourself into position and being ready, when the big cave happens, when something really bad happens, or slowly players really do start walking away from the system, not because of what you're doing, but because of maybe what the company WOTC is doing with D&D. When that starts to happen, as long as you're in position to pick all that up and you're you've had years, you have an established relationship with customers, you have an established reputation, you might be able to then override D&D after 50 years. And then if you're lucky, you can maintain that spot, but it's not going to be easy because you're going to have a harder time then, because once D&D goes down, no matter who takes it down, they do not have that spot secure, because at that point, then it really does open up. The audience will really widen their view on what they're willing to play and purchase. But to think there's a game that's going to come along anytime soon and take that spot, that's just not happening. And if you keep attacking the thing that the majority in our hobby wants, they want an AI Dungeon Master, they want their D&D Beyond, they want their terrain to be conveniently a part of that package. They love that idea. The more you fight it, the more you're going to lose, because what you have to do to get them to come away from that is to offer something alternative to that that's just as good, right? That appeals to them. The problem is, with most people complaining about what WOTC is doing, they're not offering something that really does appeal to the other side. Look, a good majority of those people have no interest in the OSR, so the more you try to put down WOTC and prop up the OSR, you're not going anywhere. Like what you're saying is landing on deaf ears the second you start talking that way. That's why I don't waste my time going after WOTC and what they're doing business-wise. I criticize what I think is the most effective shit to criticize, is the actual gameplay. Like what's happening at the majority of tables, not the exception. I get there's exceptions out there, and fair enough, but what's happening at the majority of tables? What is the game producing in the hobby? I think criticizing that stuff is way more effective than trying to criticize WOTC, because all WOTC's doing is trying to make money, but at the same time giving the customers, the majority, what they want. That's why there's a lot of bad products with WOTC, because they aim to make money and give the customers what they want. It's less about quality and more about money, right? And note what I'm saying there. It's about giving the customers what they want. The customers want this shit, right? Look, I knew back in the old school, there was a lot of players that wanted stuff that we just, on principle, would say no to. We would be sour towards. But guess what? That was the majority that wanted that unfair shit, that wanted that cheat stuff, that wanted to be superheroes. And if you keep ignoring the majority and somebody else comes along and says, here, I'll give you what you want, what do you expect the outcome to be? That's why we lost a WOTC, and that's why they hold the reins at the top right now. And they will hold on to it for as long as, Hasbro really wants to hold on to all this. They can afford to make mistakes, and many people are just, they're overplaying their hand on assuming the mistakes that are being made are very devastating. They're not, because of the reality of the situation. If the situation was different, this would be bad for them. But there is nobody ready to compete, so it doesn't matter if they fuck up right now. And they know that. Yet, all the guys that will go after the useless shit to do with WOTC that's not going to work, that's not going to change minds, they'll get mad at me when I go after the effective bits that will change minds, if what I'm saying is considered. Whatever. Anyway, for now, take care.